Good afternoon, everyone. We're Group 2, and our book was Unlocking the Hidden Job Market. My name is Christopher Jackson.
I'm Lewis Warren.
I'm Marissa Hoff.
And I'm Ashik Arif.
So, what exactly is the hidden job market?
The hidden job market is the jobs below the water, if you look at the iceberg metaphor we've got. What it is jobs that haven't yet been advertised. They usually haven't been advertised because they haven't identified their need, they're not at the stage of putting it out, or they're planning on promoting from within. But the main reason why is because they don't know you yet.
One of the key terms in the book is, you guessed it, networking. The book mainly focuses on building connections professionally instead of just focusing on mutual friends to land that dream job that you want. But how do you get those professional ties? You go to programming events, you know? And the three most important things you need to do at the programming events are, the first one, be there. If you want the job, you gotta be there. Be yourself. You're there because you don't have a job, but that does not mean that you don't have the skill set to get that job. And lastly, behave yourself. At events like these, there's typically alcohol, but don't drink. The biggest no-nos of these events are don't sound phony, don't sound lame, and do not sound do not sound desperate. Basically, what it means is you're there because you don't have a job. Don't try to work around it. Don't board the person you're talking to. And lastly, don't just take on any job offer you get. And finally, you get a few potential network connections, but how do you solidify the bond? You set up a meeting with them, ideally in their office, or like around your office hours, something like that, instead of a fancy restaurant, where it costs and it's not very professional. And try to keep your schedule open so that you can fit the time slots very nicely. And also, after the meetings, evaluate how your meetings went, how you did, and what you can improve on. And lastly, keep networking even if you do have a job.
Okay. So networking is a very important resource for trying to get the perfect job, but there are a lot of other resources. One, membership lists. This would be your professional association, like the CPA, things like that. These are people in your profession. Technology directories. If someone is selling something, then they need people to make it. So that's a great place to find people who are hiring. Government lists. Your local agency, economic development agency, usually has a list of companies in the area and companies that are coming into the area and are going to need to expand your facilities. And finally, trade associations. These are where companies get together to discuss the state of their industry. This way you can get a large list of companies in your area. So once you've got those resources, where do you go next? You go to 200 suspects. These are companies or industries you don't have to know a lot about, but you know that they might have opportunities for you. The next cut is to 100 prospects. This is as you start to learn more about the companies. You decide who you might want to work for, who is hiring people like you. Next, you narrow it down to 10 opportunities. These are places that you know are hiring, and they're not long shots, as the book says. There's something that can actually happen. The final step is taking it from companies to people. You identify your few targets. These are individuals that can hire you. This is where networking comes into play. This is where membership lists help you figure out who you need to talk to. This is the most important step, because once you're here, next is interviews.
In the interview phase, this is where you're going to meet with your potential employers or people that can help you meet those potential employers. Basically, these meetings are meant to turn into a formal interview. The book outlines what the meeting is going to look like. First is the positioning phase. This is where you're going to run through your agenda and make sure he knows what you're going to be talking about. And then let him know that you're in the market for a job, but make sure that he knows that he doesn't need to know of any open positions at that time. Then you want to tell him your 2-minute story. This is basically your elevator speech, which you include your career history, why you're at the meeting, and what you would like to achieve next in your career. Next is the stimulus phase. This is where you will discuss your target opportunity profile. This is basically a list of the opportunities that you're looking for and the people that can help you get there. Then you want to ask the person if he knows of anybody that's in charge of your target position, and if they know anything about the companies that you've listed. Next, you move into the information exchange phase. This is going to be the bulk of your meeting. This is where you discuss industry, trends, professional practices, and unmet needs and frustrations that you might have in the profession. Finally, we go into the wrap it up and get it done phase. This is where you want to review what you have talked about, ask how they want to be updated with, or as you take the suggestions that were made during the interview or the meeting. And lastly, you want to thank him for his.
So after you have one of these interviews and you actually get forward to have a job interview, what happens after 2 or 3 weeks and you don't get a response? Don't fret. It means that they're still interested in you. Until you get a definitive yes or no, just know that they're still looking at you along with a lot of other people. Which brings me to the first rule of negotiation. Do not negotiate until you know that they are actually interested in you. Because if they're not interested in you, and you try to negotiate for money, you're just gonna look bad and you're gonna lose out on a valuable job opportunity. So when it comes to negotiation, one of the most important things you must have is leverage. You have to put yourself in their shoes. You have to know what they want, how you can meet their needs, and the best way to present how you will actually meet these needs. For example, you have to look at how you will raise revenue for them, how you will lower costs for them, and how you make their process more efficient for the entire company. So when you do that, it's a lot about subtlety. You have to remember that while they are interested in you, you have to remember that other companies are also interested in you. You have to subtly remind them. If they wanted to make an appointment with you, tell them that you have a few other job interviews to do. Can I pin you in later? You have to know that if other people want them, they'll have to, if you want him, you have to pay for him. And always remember that they're gonna try to get you to the lowest price as well. So don't let it throw you, it's just a negotiation tactic. And finally, in conclusion, the hidden job market offers a lot of possibilities for those who are unemployed, and you can achieve these through upgrading your networking skills, upgrading your interview skills, and doing a lot of research, and you will find the best opportunity for you. Thank you.
All right, any questions, guys?
Okay, so this is a question that ties to the previous group as well. You also mentioned a lot of networking events, so a lot about multiple weak ties. But I heard from them 6% of the job opportunities are from weak ties, meaning 40% is from strong ties.
Right.
And you only have a few strong ties, but you have many weak ties. Does it mean that really, in the end, strong ties matter more?
Just networking.
It does matter, but if you want to maximize your chances, you definitely want to have those weak ties as well. You know, towards the end, you never really know where the job offer comes from, you know, and where you get that last person who eventually hires you. So it's better to have an all-rounded approach instead of just having strong ties.
Right. And you always want to keep your friends, right? So that's fine.
Thank you.
Anything else?